Have you always dreamed of getting your music into an official Spotify playlist and watch your monthly listeners skyrocket, but just can't seem to get your pitches right? Well, I've had my music featured in over 40 official Spotify editorial playlists across multiple countries, with many of those being placed on the #1 top spot and even receiving the playlist cover photo, including New Music Friday. In this video, I'm going to show you how I write my pitches so that you can give your next release the best chance of being featured in a Spotify editorial playlist, even as an independent artist. But why should you listen to me? Well, as an artist, I've released 17 songs over the past year and a half. 16 of those got placements in a bunch of different editorial playlists, including New Music Fridays, and I wrote every single pitch myself. That's about a 95% success rate. Today, I'm going to give you a pitch that you can simply copy and paste and adjust to fit your release and hopefully give your music some placements. But first, if you could leave a like on this video and maybe a comment down below, or even subscribe, that would let me know that you guys appreciate these kind of videos so that I can keep making more in the future. Now, let's get into it. I'll start with the bad news. No matter what you do as an independent artist, without a distributor who has direct contact to someone at Spotify, you won't be able to submit pictures for playlist covers. But this doesn't mean you can't get placements, and it doesn't even mean you can't get the #1 spot. It happened to us before we were signed, and they just used some other artist's picture for the playlist cover. So yes, the odds still favour those who are signed to major labels, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. In fact, despite the competition, it's easier than ever to get your music heard. By pitching your music through Spotify for artists, a playlist curator at Spotify is guaranteed to hear it. That's huge. And the truth is, 99% of people that are uploading their music aren't even pitching it. And if they are, they're doing it completely wrong. So by watching this video through to the end, I promise you, you'll already be giving yourself a massive advantage over the rest and increasing your chances of your next song being featured in a Spotify editorial playlist. When to release? As you know, you start by sending your song for distribution to the major streaming platforms via your distributor of choice. Which one you use isn't important. What does matter is when you submit it. In an ideal world, you should be sending your song to distribution at least 6 weeks before release day, and schedule it to come out on a Friday. New Music Friday is when Spotify updates the bulk of its playlists, so by releasing on a Friday, you're increasing your odds of getting a placement. I have seen some cases where an artist was generating a lot of organic interest on TikTok, and so decided to release on a Monday. This showed the Spotify algorithm that there was a lot of fans interested in the song, prompting the playlist curator to bump it up to a top spot on the Friday updates. But this is definitely an exception. Play it safe and release on a Friday. Once your song has been registered by your distributor, it will appear on your Spotify for artists within a few days. The reason I recommend you send to distribution at least 6 weeks before is so that you give yourself at least 4 weeks to pitch to Spotify before your release day. This isn't a hard set rule, but it is what Spotify themselves recommend, and if it's going to increase your odds, why not do it? Now, with the release day within 4 to 6 weeks, you head into Spotify for artists and begin your pitch. First, you're going to be asked where you're from and where you're currently based. Do not lie. You might think that saying you're based in some big city might give you a greater chance of being heard or make you sound more credible or something, but please, don't do it. Firstly, it won't make a difference, and secondly, you have to remember you're not pitching to some algorithm here. An actual human being at Spotify is going to read this. And in some countries, it can even just be 1 or 2 people that review all the pictures that come in. The goal is to build trust and rapport with this person at Spotify over time, so they become invested in your journey. How do you think that they'll feel if they find out that you've been lying to them? And do you think that this will increase your odds of being placed in the future? No, so don't do it. Once you've completed this step, you'll be asked for some more specifics about the song. This is where you're going to give Spotify what they call the metadata of your track, so that they can categorize it correctly. Again, don't just pick the answers that you think will be best here. Be honest and be specific. The more accurate the data you provide, the easier it will be for the playlist curators at Spotify to find a playlist that suits your music. So, if your song is synth pop, select synth pop. Now we come to the most important part, writing the pitch. Look, at the end of the day, all Spotify care about is getting users to their platform. So if you can convince them that placing your song in a playlist will drive users to their app, they're more likely to do it. That being said, in my experience, the most effective pitches cover how it will be marketed, any hype it's getting pre-release, accomplishments, how the song was made, the mood or feel of the song, and what you've got going on afterwards. Spotify only gives you 500 characters, which averages out to around 80 words, so you're going to want to use all of them. That means skipping writing down the track title or artist name. Spotify can already see that, and here, every character counts. Now I'm going to show you a sample pitch I've written. You can find a text version of this pinned in the comments below, so you can copy and paste it and adjust it to your needs. This pitch covers all the key aspects I think are most important to include, and it's exactly 500 characters. It goes like this. Built with chopped vocals and mellow piano, crafted in our countryside bedroom studio, capturing the warmth of an English summer. Already gaining traction with over 50,000 views on TikTok, and a strong influencer-social campaign to follow. Recent releases have surpassed 300k streams and 300 plus playlist ads. Visuals ensure a cohesive identity across socials and Spotify with the single artwork. Performing live at Soulfest 2025, more songs on the way, culminating in an album set for release in September 2025. As you can see, this pitch covers how the song was created and its corresponding feel. It also tells Spotify that there are listeners out there waiting for it to be released who will come to their platform to listen to it on release day. It shows them that you're going to be putting effort into marketing the song and the success you've had with previous releases. It also shows them the effort you're putting into pushing your music out in the real world too, as well as how it fits in with any future plans. So, now you've pitched your song and you're playing the waiting game. But how will you know if you've been selected for an editorial playlist? Well, you won't. Spotify say that they'll email you, but this email comes a day after release. You'll know nothing beforehand. That makes it all the more exciting though, when you finally do land a placement. Look at this video of us gathered around the computer, refreshing the page over and over again at midnight, to discover that we'd landed the #1 spot and cover photo on New Music Friday. Look, some of you out there might be thinking that you don't care whether you receive a Spotify editorial playlist or not, and that's great, but you should still pitch anyway. I'd still recommend for every artist out there to pitch their singles, as this makes sure it will get featured in your followers' release radars. And from experience, if you've got a bit of a following on Spotify, release radar can be more valuable than almost all the editorial playlists out there. Here's an example of one of our songs, which was featured in 4 editorial playlists, including 10th place on New Music Friday, received the cover photo and top spot on another one, and yet still, release radar performed better than 3 out of 4 of them. So even if you don't care about the official Spotify playlists, pitch your music anyway. I hope this video has helped anyone wanting to up their chances of getting featured in playlists and finding new fans. If you appreciate these kinds of educational videos from someone inside the industry, I'm going to be uploading much more of them. So leave me your comments of what you'd like to see in the future, or hopefully how this video helped you get some placements. Or simply leave a like and say hi. Extra points if you subscribe though. Alright, anyway, good luck for your next release. Till next time, see ya.